Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, today we're going to talk about something that makes me a little bit sad because of what happens in the book, but it in general makes me very happy, and it is the Wishsong of Shannara, a very good fantasy series book in the first trilogy series by Terry Brooks, which we have been going through and having a fantastic time doing so. Well, we have here to the south of me, but to the north of me, Rennie. What's up?
Good morning, Teresa. Good morning, Steve. How are you guys this morning?
Oh, I'm doing well. I have some coffee in my Lord of the Rings mug, and the weather's better now, so I'm gonna probably be going out later on my bike. So all's good.
Nice. Yeah, hubby and I had a really nice brekkie at our place that we had breakfast at during our honeymoon, which is we're just kind of committing to going once a month. So
Aw.
this is around that time, and we had a great breakfast with lots of coffee. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Just to be clear, they do eat regular breakfasts at home for the rest of the
Yes,
month. They don't just eat
that's
one
correct.
meal per month.
That's correct. It's not only one breakfast for the entire month. It's just our breakfast out, like, kind of wedding commemoration thing. So yeah, it's nice.
Commiseration?
Commemoration.
Okay, oh, well, I guess both words could work. Yes. All right, and all the way from the future, and a northern latitude, is the one, the only Lord Steaglesby the Third.
Hello.
Oh, how's the future?
I'm quite cross with myself,
Why?
for I forgot to make myself tea before the stream started.
Well, you can go ahead and make tea because that's something that a British man would do.
Yeah, and believe it or not, we do it in Norway as well. We want
Don't you have a
tea.
servant that can make it for you? I'm just kidding.
No, I had to give him up. Uh,
Oh,
wrong skin color. So,
Oh my gosh,
reparations.
Steve.
What?
Nothing.
Isn't my fault. I inherited the person.
Oh, that's true. The servants do come. So I'm glad that King Charles has been generous, though, and he's gotten you another servant. That was nice of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I'm looking forward to your book, Not the Spare, and
What?
and and all the reasons why being the spare would be awesome for you.
Being spare?
That's the name of Harry's book because he's bitching because he's the
Oh, I
spare.
haven't read it.
yeah.
Oh, trust me, I haven't either. But you don't need to read things anymore. You just need to watch YouTube.
Well, speaking of things you do need to read, I wrote you a rhyme, didn't I? But you need to read aloud.
Let's make love behind the Christmas tree where nobody sees us. Hooray, hooray for Jesus. Well, there's nothing wrong with making love under certain contexts. You can make love behind the Christmas tree if that's what you want to do. Good morning, says Jacob Ironside. Hello, Jacob. Glad you're back and unfrozen. And it is the polar bear.
Behind the Christmas tree, there's no soft presents.
Wow.
I'll go make my tea now.
Yes, please. Please do. Well, we have a polar bear in the house. We love our animals here at Miss Martin Moon says, hello, humans and other critters. Hello. How are things out there on the iceberg? I've been seeing some your reports from there. During this week, during the musings, I don't know if you heard, Rennie, when we were talking about the Titanic. Apparently, some of his ancestors were knocked off the iceberg when
Oh
Titanic
no.
hit. Yeah, it's pretty terrible. Yeah. See, so that captain has a lot to answer for.
That's right.
Shouldn't have
How
gone full speed
dare.
ahead. Yeah. He should have slowed down. Everyone else did. Sort Poop says, Steve Kenobi, I tried making love behind the Christmas tree once, but I kept getting needled. Oh dear. Please be sure to hit the like button. Thank you. Rennie. Yeah, I'm with you there, Rennie. Oh. Speaking of which, my dad keeps sending me things about Meghan Markle and Harry because we just like to sit around and hate.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because they're not being hurt. You know what I mean? They're just fine. You know, we're completely team King Charles and Prince William on this one. So it's like Dad
Yeah,
just
no
sent me
doubt.
another one. What was the headline? Meghan Markle craved rejection from the royal family on purpose, claimed Palisades. Well, of course she did. Of course she did. Probably Lady Toriel and I will be doing another hate stream about all of this. So stay tuned. It's just when we can both get together. But for sure, I will be doing extravaganza covering of the coronation.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good stuff. I'll just be sitting there, you know, watching it and talking and having tea um and if I can get Lady Toriel to get up in the morning early too, we can both just hate. We're a bunch of haters. We do not like the Harkles, and there's a good reason why. If you want to see the stream, it is here. It's like, what is it called? The good, the bad, and the batshit crazy. T for two and two for T. Oh, for fuck's sake! Pardon me. Dang it! I said it. I'm trying not to curse. It already happened. Okay. What happens behind the Christmas tree stays behind the Christmas tree. That is true. I'm drinking some chai tea without the milk. Don't care for that. Oh. Well, I disagree. But that's okay. I guess to each their own, right? That's what they taught me in bartending school. I like chai lattes rather, says Rennie, and regular chai tea. Okay. Yeah, all right. Well,
I can do
you
either
can all,
or. I'm flexible.
yeah, you can all be wrong. We have a Brit in the house, not Brian. I mean, or rather, a Brit that is actually a Scotsman. Yeah, let's be fair there. Help me out. I don't know how you all prefer to be referred to them. I was just going to say we have a real one versus the one who's in the closet, Stieg. But hello, not Brian. Always good to see you. Jacob Ironside says, "What happens behind the Christmas?" Oh wait, I already read that. And speaking of which, Brian, do you speak the language there? Because we were talking about that. You know, I have Gaeilge in Ireland, and there's some. Whenever I hear it being spoken on Outlander, I actually kind of understand. So there's some similar words. I'm just wondering if you're fluent in it or if you learned it in school. And I don't quite know the proper name for the language, so I'm not going to sound ignorant and try to say so.
Tea.
Well, thank you, Stieg. Well, good. Everyone else is having tea too.
I found 2 tomatoes to snack on as well.
Well, congratulations.
Tea and tomatoes, what a combo.
Yep.
He's making fun of me.
No.
Oh, you're not? You mean you're really? Oh, okay.
Listen.
Because he always says I put weird stuff in my tea and my coffee.
Tomato. No, I'm going to eat the tomatoes. I'm not putting it in the tea.
Okay. All right. Sort of Poopa says, I have no love for Meghan Muckle face. Yeah. Though after Spare.
I think it's Meghan Markle, because she pegs him, you see. Harry's on the ground, clutching the carpet.
Well, I thought it was, I was going to say, I thought it was William that liked the pegging.
Well, you see, I'll tell you what, that was a rumor that started on the internet, and now word is getting around that maybe that was the Markles that planted it.
Harry was projecting.
That's funny.
Yeah, projected, yeah. Well, because his whole book is, I hate William, and everyone's like, because when you look, it's like the whole rumor about William being the pegger.
Yeah, no. She went so deep on him, his hair turned red.
Sort of says, I think one of my cousins dragged DiCaprio off the door.
Oh no.
It's nice. Ooh, a snack. Oh, FFS. Okay. Hawoo. Not Brian. Everyone's saying hello. Okay, not J. Rise. Yeah, that's a stream for another time. Yeah, I promise you there will be some very petty streams about all of this.
I promise you that stars will shine when Meghan Markle takes you from behind.
Well, Stieg, how do you know so much about that?
I read it in a book.
He knows about it because it's his half brother.
No.
Um, oh dear, oh dear. But yeah, so you will be warned. There will be special streams, and I always knew there was a reason why I did all that studying of history and War of the Roses and Henry VIII and all that. It was for this moment. It was for this moment to make some petty streams. But I'll tell you what is not petty. It is our coverage of the Wishsong of Shannara. And I'm so proud of myself that I think I completely got the name correct. By Terry Brooks. We are starting on chapter, was it 26? No. That's where we ended. Well, whatever we're starting, it's where we're starting. And let me bring it up.
Well, it probably says so in your book.
It does, but it's freaking okay. Roman numerals. But we do have Meteor Advocate Timon. Thank you for being here. And who once again, he just can't catch a break down there in Brazil. They're just going batshit crazy. All right. Not Brian. Do you speak any Celtic languages? Okay, yeah. You see, I don't know. I don't know if it's the same as it was in Ireland, because in Ireland it was a big deal because people wanted to keep it was part of like keeping the culture alive. You know. Chapter 21 is where we're starting. So, as always, please be warned that it is this is a spoiler stream. I think it's kind of obvious, but every now and then I want to give folks a heads up that maybe if they're not entirely sure, they come in and hear a big F spoiler. And we do have something big that happened. We're going to talk about it in detail, but before we get started, any general comments you want to make, Rennie?
For the entire section that we read?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
You know, there's a lot that happens in these chapters because we read 8 this time around. Mm-hmm. And it's very important, but there are a lot of like shocks and awes, so that I wasn't necessarily prepared for, but at the same time I expected some of them. So yeah, it was definitely an interesting read, but I did find the chapters to be really good. It's just there's some tugs at the heartstrings here and there.
Yeah, I felt a little bit guilty, but
yeah.
But I'm glad it happened, and I'll say why when it does. And Steve, I want to throw it to you. Anything you want to say before we get started?
No, the first one was kind of not too much happened. There was a lot of talking. You know, Garrett Jacks returned eventually.
Yeah,
and the Melreth had escaped.
They got screwed. No, and that's gonna be bad, for lack of a better word. It's gonna be really bad. All right, well, let's just go ahead and jump into it because it's kind of hard, I think, for us to do a general one because we want to talk about the specific thing that happened, especially. But when we left them, the Veilman, aka Jer, he was thinking that the Melrat thing, the Melkrit, had messed with him, you know, and it was like some sort of twisting had been done, but he didn't know how much twisting had happened. And so it's still nighttime, and we get a little bit of a background about the fortress and all sorts of cool things like that. And we learn some background. Let's see. It says, not everyone wants to believe the truth of things you see. Some want to hide from it. Because he's talking about all the different elves and people. The Westland elves are sitting in an army under Ander. It's still 2 weeks away, though. Calaran promises aid. Nothing from the trolls yet. And the Southland, he's basically saying the Southland completely sucks.
Yeah.
that they had a federation that at one time actually did something, but now they're just worthless. They're kind of like the UN. It sounds like they started off as a really good idea and then just ended up becoming
Crap.
total crap.
They're the villains in the next series.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. It says so on the back of the book, so it's not really a spoiler.
No. Well, and they're setting it up. They're basically saying, and then rather the background about Garrett Jax. It says, Forker goes, "You want to understand him, don't you?" And he goes, "A little at least." And the dwarf answers, "It's like trying to understand a hawk. You see him what he is, what he does. You marvel at him, but you have to be him to understand. He's like another form of life because there's only one. He has magic in his own way. He survives what would kill anyone else, a thing apart. And he also does things for reasons that are his own." And he says, the dwarf says, Forker says, reasons that he hasn't told me, and Jer knows it well enough to be quiet because he knows some of the reasons. So that's our little background on Garrett Jax, who is one of the coolest characters, I think, to come out of this. I didn't know, Rennie, if you wanted to comment on the way that he was trying to describe him. And
it's interesting because when Jared kind of asked him, like, he asked him something to the effect, like, "Don't you understand him better than the rest of us because you know him better?" Something to that effect. And he's like, "Well, just because I know him, more than you guys doesn't mean I really understand him. That's a completely different thing." So they kind of make him seem or sound like an enigma, and that he's like one of a kind and he's great at what he does, but he's not like other people. I just really gained a lot of appreciation from that, and for the fact that he seems to be very well respected, at least by the dwarves and by pretty much everyone in the party.
I'm sorry, I just took a big swig of coffee right when you stopped talking.
No, you're okay.
It's like, darn it, I'm supposed to say something and I've got coffee in my mouth.
You're okay. I just need some water. All of a sudden, I'm like, my throat is feeling dry.
That was bad timing. I did enjoy the way his words about the magic. He has a magic of his own, even though it's not really magic, of course. Just being like a badass, being Rambo, like the way Rambo has some magic, or
Now we can summarize maybe that he's got a little extra something because of the King of the Silver River, but not before recent events.
Yeah, and then things start to get ominous because they realize that the Melret has escaped and he did a shapeshift. And Adane says this was something he could have done anytime. There must be a reason he chose to do it now. And then you hear, "Ooh." I thought that was kind of silly.
It's like,
"Ooh." I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and they're like,
it should have been the Melret hanging from the ceiling, just saying "oom."
The wind did it.
Yeah.
And then helpfully, Slanter tells us it's a summons to dark magic. And they see 3 black cloaked figures approach, and Slanter goes, Mord rays. The walkers have come. Dun, dun, dun. So are they screwed, Steeg, or are they really screwed?
Kind of fucked.
Okay.
Well, you've read it.
I know, I've read it.
They're SOL.
Yeah, but the fact that the Mordray, the Melkrit guy, I knew he was really powerful, but for some reason the idea that he was able to just shapeshift and just chose to do it at that moment, like he could have done it at any time, That's that's kind of creepy. Oh, I got something. Oh, Steve. Sorry. Um, yes, that is exactly what is going on. And when the Mordrays come, and the Mordrays really do remind me of the rays from the Lord of the Rings, but what it turns out that they end up doing, and I'm going to go ahead and move on to chapter 22 because it just flows together. They show up and they stick their staves into the water and it starts churning up, and they summon a kraken, which, that's a.
Shit has really hit the fan when they summon the damn kraken.
Yes, when they release the kraken.
And the weird thing is that's what they start with.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do like other monsters first to see if they work. No, they go straight for the 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And unless you've leveled up, you're going to die. You have only one choice, which is to run, which is what the Garrett Jax orders Slanter and Jer. He's like, take him, go, get the hell out of here. And of course, Jer's like, no, my friends. He's like, you can't do anything here, boy, and starts dragging him. Better start worrying.
And the kraken has been. It's not something they create out of thin air.
No, they summoned him, right?
They basically teleported him from somewhere off the coast because they know there's krakens in the ocean, and this one has coral stuff on it and stuff like that. So they've taken it from the ocean and put it in the lake in front of the dam, basically.
So were either one of you like not frustrated about the fact that Slanter like sits there and he keeps telling Garrett Jax, we need to run, we need to get out of here, and he's like, no, we're fine, we're going to stand our ground. He's like, no, we need to go, you cannot beat this thing. Let's go, let's run. And he, Slanter knows more than most because he's been in the inner circle with these guys and he knows what they're capable of as far as like the evil gnomes and the Mordrays and stuff like that, and he knows who their comrades or companions are, and he's like, we need to get out, come on. And nobody listened to him, and that was very frustrating for me.
Well, it's also, they have to give it a go though, because if the dam falls, Colhaven and a lot of the Southlands will get tainted.
No, that's true.
Yeah, but
from the bad shit they put in the water, whatever it was.
But yeah, I sympathize though with what Rennie's saying, and I think that's why
Nobody listens to Slanter.
That's true.
But he actually, for acting so abrasive, he actually has a lot of common sense and a lot of good instincts about him, and nobody gives him the time of day because he's a gnome.
Yeah,
it's sad.
Well, they pay for it. Or do they? But I mean, we don't know if they're dead, but all of them get pretty effed up by him, by the kraken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seemingly dead. There's like a bit of the dam gets crushed, and what was it? Elb and Helt and Adane, I think, were seemingly crushed by the rubble.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then Garrett Jax went full damn Rambo.
Yeah. But then he also got seemingly killed.
Yeah, well, basically he charges the kraken while it's climbing up the wall.
Yeah.
And grabs a damn lance and rams it into its eye. And just kind of stands on it, stabbing the lance deeper and deeper in, going for the brain, and him and the kraken fall off the dam.
Yeah. And the way the kraken, like its tentacles went and like just basically pulled down the wall or the gate or whatever. I mean, just the sheer force.
Yeah, the dam had no chance.
Yeah. No damn chance.
No damn chance. Oh, I got it. I thought it was kind of. I mean, I know that he's technically the bad guy, the Kraken, but it was pretty damn awesome what he did.
Oh, you did it too.
But it was. I mean,
I
I thought
know.
that was cool. It's like, oh, look, he's got tentacles. He's tearing it down. And Slanter's just screaming, "Go, go!" So finally he runs. They're all dead. I mean, when you put it together, it says a little company from Coalhaven does no more. Halton Forker struck down by the Walkers, Garrett Jack carried away by the Kraken, and Edane Elisindil disappeared. Only Slanter and he were left, and they were running for their lives. And then, boom, he kind of gets knocked down while Slanter's in front of him, and Jer suddenly hears, "Stay, little peoples, friends of us, magics." It's the Melcrep, and Jer's voice was a soundless scream in his mind. Dun, dun, dun. I'm like,
Yeah, and then Slanter's alone,
mm-hmm,
and he's kind of figuring out what must have happened,
mm-hmm,
and he's like pondering if he should. Yeah, well, he's basically doing the same thing he did in the previous chapter.
mm-hmm.
He's deciding, yeah, I've had enough. I'm going to leave.
Yeah. And this time
Uh,
around, it was a little just more realistic. It's like they're all dead. Even Jer's gone, as good as dead. I need to just go ahead and go away.
do you think he's going to go away though?
Oh, hell no. Because
Oh,
he's protesting too much with himself.
He's very conflicted, and I don't see him wanting to walk away because I honestly do feel like even though he's a gnome and they have the reputation of being the bad guys, he's not a bad guy, and he actually cares about Jer and maybe some of these other companions.
well, it's kind of like what struck me was this is probably the first time Slanter has had a friend
Mm-hmm.
because he's been a
Yeah,
loner all the time, right?
yeah,
Yeah. He's a friend and, kind of has a big brother thing going on with him, a vibe.
yeah.
And he's trying to tell himself, boy, it was too much trouble anyways. But his words lacked conviction. And then he's sitting there kind of scuffing his feet on the ground and goes, "That boy had sand, though." Undecided, he stared out into the rain. Oh. And unfortunately, we're not going to see anything more.
Not in this segment of chapters.
No.
Not fair.
Yeah, not fair. Yeah, like not fair. Let's protest. Well, I want to take this opportunity also to say hello to everybody coming in the chat, all of you that will be listening later. And if you could like, share, and subscribe early and often, I would definitely appreciate it. Gee. These chapters were hard. It wasn't unlike the feeling I got at the end of the Fellowship of the Ring, but it would be as though if we we thought that everyone was dead except for Frodo and Sam. That's
Oh man, that would be a bummer.
yeah, really sucked. Yeah, I mean, because that's essentially what's going on. Or we know that Jer's kidnapped, which is just as good as being screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, remember, I'll never forget the feeling of knowing that Merry and Pippin were taken by the orcs.
Yes.
Just what that's just terrible. Yeah, definitely got that vibe. And so before we move on, I'm going to throw this to you first, Stieg, because we're going to go into a different section of the story. Is there anything else you want to say about these last two chapters?
No, they've been great.
Yeah.
The Jer and Company chapters are great fun, while
Mm-hmm.
the Bryn and Roan and Alanon chapters are more a lot more foreshadowing and world building for the most part, and
Mm-hmm.
exposition. Well, we did get some in the Jer chapter about the Melrets and all that stuff, but for the most part, it's the Jer stuff is more action, And the Bryn side of the story is more, for the most part, more story.
Yeah, good point. Jacob says he thinks those people are still alive, though. The magic will give them strength, remember. Yeah.
We will find out next week.
Stay tuned. Yeah, I know Steve's sitting there. I can't say anything.
Yeah.
And you're right. You're right about the action versus the story. And I have some words to say about that in a few more chapters on. And Rennie, anything speak now or forever destroy your happiness?
Honestly, I think Steeg said it, fairly well. So I feel like, yeah, the Jer chapters are more fun and adventurous, while the Bryn chapters are more serious and like, yes, it's a lot of exposition, but also a lot of like, if this doesn't happen, everything's going to go to hell. It's like, oh crap. So they're more stressful, I guess, so to speak, for me, but it's still, relevant to everything going on. And especially here in a little bit in one of the chapters we're about to discuss. So,
yeah. Yep, there we are. Okay, chapter 20. Wait, did I do this wrong?
No, because there were two Jer chapters. 21, 23. It should be 23.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it should be on 23.
You know what? I think I changed it, and then I changed it again and forgot I changed it. Because I'm like, wait a second, this isn't 24. This is 23. Thank you.
Yeah, 23 doesn't have too much stuff happening, though.
No.
It's more bonding between basically, Bryn is depressed that they're riding across the Rab plain, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's constantly raining and stuff, and she's getting depressed. And I'm thinking, Shay and Fleck and company walked across that fucking plain.
Yeah.
And she's riding.
Hey.
You know?
So an inconsistency, perhaps?
No, she's a whiner.
Oh.
Well, but you have to understand that she and Jer were very sheltered. So, they lived in a very loving home and nothing bad ever happened, except for, Will said Al-Anon bad. Yeah.
So did Shay and Flick.
But Shay and Flick had more of a rough upbringing, I think, because they lived at the inn. I feel like they met a lot more nefarious people than these kids did. I don't know. I feel like their parents sheltered them more. That could be just my opinion.
No, you're not wrong. Well, and being a girl, too, this isn't the kind of life that she would be trained for, especially with healers as parents.
And she's basically also feeling inadequate because Roan now has the magic in his sword.
Mm-hmm.
And Al-Anon has powerful magic, so she feels like she's like the least powerful. And then, despite of that, everything hinges on her. So she's having, doubts.
Yeah, and even feels that there's something coming between her and Roan. That I don't know, maybe a little bit of emo stuff. It's like, oh, it's like he's got this power now, and he's got this, and I couldn't tell if it was actually changing him, like literally, like that the magic was affecting Roan and changing his personality, or if it was just because of he was feeling all.
Well, it was false confidence.
Okay.
I guess
that's what I feel like. He had a lot more confidence once he got the sword all leveled up.
Yeah. But maybe he'll be taken down a peg or two.
Yeah. So speaking of someone who doesn't bring down any pegs, it is Matt G bringing bacon. Thank you. I haven't had any bacon yet this morning. I just had poached eggs. Bacon sounds good.
Oh, I had some really good bacon. It's so good.
Dunkin', you can get like a little snack of bacon. You can just order that there at Dunkin' Donuts. Oh my gosh. That sounds really good. Oh my! I'm gonna get some. I'm going to the antique mall after we're done here. I'm gonna grab some bacon. Matt G says Rennie is tired today. She saw Magic twice yesterday. Oh,
Magic
Magic
Mike.
Mike. Oh, you
Yeah.
did you?
No, for the record, I don't like Channing Tatum, and I can't stand watching a lot of stuff that he's in because his face is just so annoying. Have you guys seen The Hateful Eight? Both of you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best part of Hateful Eight is when he got his head blown off. Like,
Nice.
honestly, I laughed so hard. So, yeah, no, thank you.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first at Miss Martin Muses. But one thing I liked about this chapter was they got to store lock. I was like,
Yeah.
I know this place. I know it. And the little stores kind of come out, and it says what appeared as if they had been waiting for the three to arrive. And this is some of my favorite stuff in fantasy. Hot Daz waited, clean clothes and food, and beds with fresh linen, and they just all those cozy moments, and she was able to get in a nice little bed and sleep with languorous unconcern, and she could almost pretend that she was back again. So, yay for happy hospitality. Good stuff.
Yeah, it was a very warm, fuzzy feeling when they got to the stores. That was cool.
Yeah. And just also keeping up with, like, it's a happy place.
That's right.
It was like that in the first book. And then she has a chance, though, to talk with Al-Anon about Bremen. So we get a few pages of that. And I'm not sure he completely gives us information that we didn't already know, except he focuses on things like Bremen would never forsake a promise, and a druid would stand as a protector against the warlock lord. And when the time of his passing was at hand, he used magic, and one last time he bound his spirit to this world. He bound himself, spirit out of flesh, to me.
Yeah, he's basically bound as a spirit until the threat of the warlock is gone. They thought it was gone in the first book, but there's still the actual book that they're hunting now that needs to be destroyed. The source of all the stuff.
So, is this the one where they explain that how he became Bremen's son? Because he wasn't Bremen's biological son.
No, he
And
found them.
yeah, so I thought that was really interesting for me anyway. So he bound himself to him with magic and claimed him as his own. So I always thought, okay, that's his, biological father, and it's not. So I thought that was pretty enlightening.
Yeah. And maybe foreshadowing, because I guess I hadn't understood that either.
Read the prequel.
I will once we're done with this. And a little more background on the Mordreys. But they were made slaves to the dark magic, as had been the Warlock Lord and the Skullbearers. So I'm not too interested in their background. It's familiar territory. But there was a point that Roan emphasized. Bremen cannot be freed from his exile within Hadeshorn until the Book of the Ildak is destroyed and the magic with it. He is pledged to that destruction, Al-Anon whispered. So now that we know that that is connected together, we're going to find, I think, something else is going to be tied. And then the druid finally just says, Bryn has the strength. Bryn is our hope. Hope and no hope. Savior and destroyer. Remember the words, Al-Anon? Your father spoke them of me, says Bryn. So she's feeling very confused and maybe insecure about that. And then she finally said, what else did he tell you, Al-Anon? That I shall not see him again in this world. The silence deepened. She was close now to the secret the druid had kept hidden, she realized. Was there more? She said. Slowly, Alanon straightened, dark robes wrapping closely around him. And he doesn't say, does he? No. Wait. Did I make a mistake? Give me a second. I think here it is. I went through 2 pages. I was like, my notes are wrong. It says, what did Bremen say? She said, he said, Bryn Armsford, that when I go from the 4 lands this time, I shall not come again. Lots of foreshadowing here. And he's like, this age passes, I must pass with it. And she's like, no, no. She's like, when will it be? And he says, when I must, Bryn, when it is time. And then she's like, Rowan and her are talking, and he's like, this is what he told us, Bryn, what he said about not returning. That was the reason we went to Paranor, and he sealed away the keep. He knew that he would not be coming back. And then they have a little romantic moment, and that's it. One more time, Alanon then talks about how he had kept things secret and how it annoyed Shay and all that, and apparently annoyed me and Rennie. And he thinks, well, yeah, and he thinks he has told Bryn more than he ever told anything else. And yet, he had not told them all. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, dear me. Oh, my. Sorry, you guys are rude. All right, they're talking, and there's some food talk in here. So it's, which is fine. We endorse food talk. So when he first said he wouldn't come again,
Yeah, that it's because he sealed it away from the land.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to refrain.
And Bryn was the only one he had spoken to about it at great length.
Stop.
And the same thing happened to his father. He couldn't until the threat was erased. So he's gonna come hard once the book is destroyed.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
He's gonna cleanse that river all by himself.
He's gonna get the poison out.
No, stop it!
The dam is gonna burst. Poor Garrett Jacks is beneath it. Garrett jacks off.
Oh dear.
Bremen's like, aim for the Kraken, boy. Let the gnomes watch.
Oh my goodness.
The point being, this is the last time we will have Alanon around.
Yeah, and he's saying this to a teenager too, and her
Oh.
boyfriend.
Oh no.
It's not really any kind of. He's not a shy man.
Let's all hang out.
Yeah.
Oh, for fun.
And Bryn has been sensing this because she's been depressed. You know, like something bad's about to happen, and it just did.
Yeah.
The talk happened.
Thank you, Steve. I just lost a sub. No, I think I lost it. It was before. I think. I'm sure it was. And well, now we only have 6 people watching. Yeah, well done. Alan, oh no, no, Jacob, don't do that. Well.
Oh, we need to get to that chapter though before Rennie leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
the
Yeah,
the
okay,
big
well,
and
so we still have time because you have another hour, right? Did I right, or do you need to?
oh yeah, I'm good until about one
Oh,
o'clock central.
oh,
Okay,
I
so we're
thought
good.
you had like 15 minutes left.
No,
No, I need to leave my house by 1 p.m. central. So,
yes,
but
so
we're
we're
good.
good. Yeah, you see, if you had like me an international clock which had everyone's different time zones on
An international what?
clock, like
Oh,
on your phone.
clock. Okay.
What'd you think I said?
I thought you were still talking about the druid.
Oh no, no, I have everyone sing, but yeah. So I figured I wanted to double check though, Rennie, because I wasn't sure. It's like, oh, did you need to? Were you need to be somewhere at 1, or did you leave at 1? Okay, well, look who's here. Speaking of the devil, Tyron Lethbridge. Hello and good day. Rennie, you are going to have the neighbors or the police knocking on our door again.
No comment.
I blame Stieg. Oh dear.
No, this time it was Rennie.
Yeah, that's true. It was Rennie. She started it, but you finished it.
Unlike Eleanor.
Steve finished.
Oh no! I can't believe I said that.
You said it, Teresa.
That's not what I meant.
Yeah, I literally beat off Alanon and Bremen to the finish line.
You did a three-way with Alanon and Brennan.
Oh, son of a bitch. The point is, he's gonna. No, I'm just not even gonna say what the point is. All right, we'll get there. We'll get there in a second. We're gonna just go straight on to chapter 23.
Yeah, let's get to the point. Unlike Alanon.
Hey, we've got some people that are coming in, and they're gonna leave if they hear
all
this.
of them. Oh,
Oh darn. Well, welcome everyone that's coming in, and I just can't explain anything. Oh, sorry, I won't. All right, we are now at chapter 24. At chapter 24, where the haunted by Alanon's dark revelation and by the tense expectation of what lay ahead, many, they could not share the warmth of what the day was giving them. And then Alanon's very helpful. He goes, our path here after will be a treacherous one. It's like, you think? The rays and their gnomes will look 2 ways for our approach, and they won't expect us to go to the more difficult way. Now, immediately I knew, oh my gosh, Alanon, really? Come on. You're a little too confident on that one.
Yeah, a little bit.
You suck. So, anyways, we're not mere humans anymore, are we? Says Roan to Bryn, and she's like, no, well, no matter. We are who we always were. And as far as Alanon, I still don't trust him entirely, but I don't mistrust him either. He is trying to help. And but she's like, something's wrong with him, with you, with this whole journey, but most especially with me. She says, I just feel it. Something terrible. I feel I'm being pulled away from myself. Now, I started to get worried because that sounded a little too much like Amberly from the last one. I'm like, so help me, if she turns into a tree or a bush or has to jump herself into the, I don't know.
it turns into a bookmark.
Well,
bookmark, yeah, that's what it would be.
from what the King of the Silver River said, and then with her and Alanon's premonitions, so to speak, I'm thinking that unless Jer is able to do what the King of the Silver River said, she might just die. That's my thought process. I'm like, oh no, she's gonna die.
Yeah, we haven't had an Omsford die yet, have we?
Not yet.
Mm-mm. Oh,
Well, natural causes.
yeah, like
Yeah.
just old people die. Well, hello, Matt. Thank you for being here. Great to see you.
Nice mustachio.
Yeah. So but definitely they're being changed. And just like anything else, when you go through these kind of experiences, I don't know, just you're never going to be the same. And I know why people like Shay and his brother really, in many ways, resented Al-Anon and everything, because you couldn't go back once it happened. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it, you know? Change their lives, not necessarily for the better, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But what had to be done nonetheless. But it was still like, well, I can never go back to before, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not unlike people that go off to war.
Yeah.
Very similar. And then Bryn says, I feel as if we are drifting. Something also interesting happened. Roan, for an instant, he had the unpleasant sensation that the girl who sat across from him was not Bryn Omsford. That was kind of creepy. But then he goes, I will protect you, he said urgently. I promise. I believe that. But somewhere deep inside, she found herself wondering if he really could. Now, is this the chapter, if I'm correct? Because there's a bit of a story behind this. But they're coming up on the Churd Rush, or not the Churd, the Chard Rush, which is like a big old waterfall. And Al-Anon is musing on Bryn. She was a child in her understanding of the magic, and her coming of age would be more difficult, because he could not help her. And alone and uncertain. So this is a different kind of Al-Anon, like one that was I think he's genuinely freaked out by the whole elf song, wish song thing.
Yeah. I think maybe because he's never seen a power like this before and didn't realize that, you know, I think the way he explained it is somehow the elf stone's magic got into Will's blood and like transferred into his children, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that he's never seen anything like this before, but at the same time, he also knows that things are not, yeah, things are going to change for him soon.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows.
Yes. Yeah. And then unfortunately, Al-Anon feels something is off, like the rest of us, and as you said, and he goes, something comes. Listen. Unfortunate wording. And then that's when they see, then with swift and certain intent, it stepped from the trees into the light. She had never seen anything like the creature that stood before them now. It was man-shaped in appearance, raised upright in a half crouch, its long arms dangling loosely before it. It was a big, strong creature, lean and heavily muscled. Its skin was a strange reddish color drawn tight against its powerful body. It was hairless, except for a thick ruff that grew about its loins. Great hooked claws curled from its fingers and toes. Gleaming yellow eyes fixed on their own, and its snout split wide in a hideous grin. What is it? Rowan whispered. What was promised, Al-Anon replied softly. So he's become a drama king. Al-Anon turned to the Veiled Girl and the Highlander. It is a Jack Era. Am I saying that right, Steek?
Yeah, Jackira.
Jakira. Well, you
It's
said it
basically a monster from way before even the elves, from the back when, the fairy times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been summoned by something. And it's extremely dangerous because it's very, very hard to kill.
Yeah.
And well, spoiler for the next chapter, we find out that it kind of feeds on its own pain.
Which
So
is
the more
not.
you damage it, the more ferocious it gets.
Yeah. I which sucks because then there's nothing you can really do against it. My
No, you
first
can't
thought,
really beat it off and make it run.
Have you tried?
No.
no, I was actually thinking almost a sadism kind of a thing. Like the more you hit it, the more strike me down, and the more I will become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be stroke, not strike.
The Masters is a masochist, says. Yep. And Alanon, Mr. Drama King, says, "This battle is mine. The power of this creature is beyond you." I'm gonna throw this out here. Really was giving me Balrog and Gandalf vibes.
Yes. Yes, when he said this creature is beyond you, or something to that extent, I'm like, oh, I remember this not going down so well for someone else.
Exactly. I was waiting for him to go, "You shall not pass." It feeds on its own pain. It watches The Last Jedi every day, says not Brian. Yes. Monster. Yeah. Oh, I see. You said Masters meant monster. I got it. And Rowan's like, "Let me come with you." The druid blocked his way. "Stand fast, Prince of Lee. Wait until you are called. Do not interfere in this. Give me your promise." He promised. Then he turned about and started down into the glen. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, it's not all the foreshadowing. And at this point, I felt like it wasn't going to end well, but I was not expecting what was going to be the conclusion of this. I don't know.
Well, this was a nice build-up chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree.
And kind of well done where we get into Alanon's mind, where I'm not hating his guts. I'm just like, I'm kind of starting to like him, the bastard.
I mean, I never hated him, but I've just always had like at first I didn't trust him fully, but because he's always hiding something, right? And I understand like it's always for quote unquote the greater good, as they say on Hot Fuzz. But sometimes I just feel like maybe certain characters need to know more than he feels like he needs to filter for them. And he keeps so much locked inside that maybe it kind of eats him alive trying to protect these other people. And, I just don't understand that kind of mentality. So it's weird for me.
Basically, the writer is making you distrust Alanon the same way the Omsford characters have distrusted him.
Yeah. Because we know he's not evil. It's just like, so he's not an evil character, and he is going, he is trying to, fight for the right side, but the way he goes about it sometimes I don't necessarily agree with.
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
That's just all there is to it. But still, like I said, I was starting to feel guilty for reasons we're going to see. So we move on to chapter 25. Alanon was conscious of nothing but the sleek-skinned form that crept cat-like down the far slope of the glen's shallow bowl. Yellow eyes narrowed, muzzle curled back in anticipation. He's so good at writing scary-ass creatures. And Alanon goes, "It was this that the premonition had warned against." And so then they go and they start to fight. And then this is where we're seeing that the Jakira just keeps like bouncing back no matter what, and even getting stronger the more damage.
Yeah. But holy damn, though, does Alanon fight like a beast in this one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he flung the Jakira over backward, lifting it off its feet and throwing it to the earth. And blue fire burst from his fingers and engulfed the master. This is a badass wizard thing.
He's basically slamming it around like a rag doll. But as soon as the Jakira gets an advantage, though, it rips into him.
Mm-hmm.
God, that was, yeah.
Yeah. And it was bad. And even there was one point where they think that they won, and then all of a sudden it comes back completely unharmed. What manner of devil is this? Says Rowan Lee.
Yeah, and
And
they
that's
can
where.
see because they're pretty far away, and even they can see the blood basically pouring from Alanon onto the
Oh,
grass.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrible because you don't want Al-Anon to die and or be hurt. He's a pain. He's a pain in the ass, but he's not a bad person. And what does it say here? Roan Lee screams out "No" when claws and teeth tore at Al-Anon, and tearing free of Bryn, who sought to restrain him, the Prince of Lee charged down into the glen. "Die, you monster!" he cries as he catches sight of the torn and bloodied figure of Al-Anon beneath. But the Jakira did not die. And
They
he,
basically chop them in the neck,
yeah. And then when
and
that,
uh,
sorry, go ahead.
that sword is powerful as hell in
Mm-hmm.
terms of magic, and didn't do much damage.
No,
So that should tell you a lot about how powerful that beast is,
yeah,
because the Mordrates had no chance against that sword,
no,
but this one certainly does.
yeah. And I couldn't help but feel something similar to when I was playing Witcher 3, where you can run across a creature that's just so much higher than you no matter what you do, you can't beat it. It's like this guy was like 20 levels above where they were. And so you have to go wait to level up to maybe hope to get there. But in this case, of course, you can't level up enough. But somehow still Al-Anon was able to get up on his feet. And is at this point that Roan also loses the sword.
Rowan gets slammed by the beast and scratched. What was it, in the face?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know he broke his promise to Al-Anon, but if he hadn't done what he did, Al-Anon would not have been able to beat him or to beat
Yeah,
the
the
Jakara.
the damn sword landed in the waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was sent flying off.
Yeah, says as Jakira wrenched the sword free as if the blow had meant nothing to it. That it hurled the sword of Lee from it into the air and high above the charred rush to fall into their grasp and be carried from sight. And yeah, Rowan was seized in the claws and flung to the glen to lie in a crumpled heap.
It knocked him the fuck out.
Yeah. And this
Rowan
is,
Lee got humbled.
yeah. But, in this case, I didn't feel like he was necessarily being impetuous or
No,
cocky. He
was
just
basically just trying to save someone.
exactly. Like maybe they would have been able to stop him if it was a situation like in the Lord of the Rings, the way they showed it in the movie, at least, where Frodo's like, no, and then like Boromir picks him up and drags him away because he's bigger than him. That if there'd have been like a bunch of dudes like Garrett Jacks, maybe they would have been able to hold him back. But it's very hard to not go to someone's aid.
Makes you wonder how Garrett Jacks would have done against this beastie, though. If you
He
do
probably would.
Probably not well.
if you do characters versus characters and what have you.
He probably would have died.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking because he doesn't have any like magical powers aside from the extra strength given to him by the King of the Silver River, but I don't think that would have saved him.
He's insanely quick though, so he would like do a shitload of cuts, right?
Yeah, maybe. But they wouldn't have phased him because even with Roan's magical sword, it's like, meh,
The
shook it off.
the elf stones would have worked against this one because
Oh,
it's not a person, it's a monster.
I'll tell you guys kind of my thought process on this once we've gone over the entire chapter. But yeah, there were some things that were screaming through my head during this whole battle, so to speak, or fight.
okay. Yeah, because
Well,
we're almost there.
Yeah,
well, basically, Alanon just grabs the thing and shoves his hand down its throat
yeah,
and
and then
pours druid fire into it till it explodes.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was badass and amazing. I mean, what a be
Yeah,
is you see, but even that was the closest thing that they could do to do it. And
that
with,
was one of the things I had misremembered because I thought he did that to the demon leader in the previous book
uh,
when he had
the
a fight.
Dagdamore.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that fight ended with that because it had been a long time since I read it, right?
yeah, no,
Yeah,
understandable. And as Jacob says, burned him from the inside out. Yeah, what a mess. Um, and then he was kneeling alone atop a pile of charred ash. True story. Oh, they were all okay. They killed him. There's a break. I've only got a few pages left of the chapter. That's all right. I'll just go to sleep now. And then someone that may be on the panel was like, "So what do you think?" I'm like, "Oh, Aladdin beat the creature. He was a beast. He was amazing." And it's like, "And is there something else?" I'm like, "No, finish the chapter." Because I just thought, like, once again, it's Al-Anon's going to beat something that he was kind of crushed and all that, but he was fine because there was a pause. He's just all a little worn out from it all. And it was so intense, I needed to take a break. Well, little I knew, Bryn goes running to the unconscious Rowan, and after wiping clean the cuts on his face, she hurried to Al-Anon. His long black robes were shredded and soaked with his blood. I mean, he was effed up. And then he goes, "I'm dying, Bryn." I'm like, "Wait, what?" It was foretold that this should be. The race found a way to set free the Jakira, knowing perhaps, at least hoping, I would be the one it would encounter. It is a thing of insanity. It would have torn itself apart just to see me destroyed. It is a poison. "We must dress the ruins, Alanon," she says. "No, Bryn, it is finished. Know that Roan's sword is not lost. The magic will not let it be lost. It must find its way to mortal hands. The river will carry it to those hands." Ooh. Mm-hmm. "You are the power, Bryn. You are the one that nothing can stand against." And this is incredibly significant. "Your father mistrusts the elven magic. He has reason to mistrust it, Veil Girl. The magic can be a thing of light or a thing of dark for the one who possesses it. Be wary of its power. Keep it your own. Use it well." "But Eleanor, I cannot go without you." "As with your father, there is no one else. The age passes, so must the druids pass with it. Bend close." And this is where he does this weird ritual where he slips a hand within his shredded robes to his chest, where I guess he's got gaping ass wound. The fingers dripped in with his own blood. He touches her forehead and holds the fingers to her flesh, speaking a language she had never heard. Something of his touch and the word seemed to seep into her, filling her with a rush of exhilaration that swept across her vision in a surge of blinding color. "What have you done to me?" "Help me to my feet." You cannot walk. And a strange, unfamiliar gentleness filled his eyes. Help me get to my feet, Bryn. I will not have to walk far. Now, this is the part that started getting to me. He walked to the edge, and the charred rush churned swiftly. When your crest is done, Bryn, you will find me here. Now stand away. And the river goes still, and then suddenly there is the spectral figure of Bremen rising from it. Father, Bryn heard Alanon call softly, and gliding motionlessly on the still water, he gathers the stricken form in his arms and moves across the water with Alanon cradled close. And then it stops. Well, you see, I think that's moving.
Yeah.
It's loved him like his son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a tough thing to read.
Yeah.
It was really tough.
Yeah, cradling him because you think about Alanon, he's this big, powerful thing, and he's holding him like a baby.
Yeah. He was like the MVP in the last two books. Like nothing could get him down. I mean, yeah, he could get injured, but he always recovered.
Yeah, but just the whole idea that but it's like they're being reunited too, like a father and a son. And then it says, then it sank slowly back into the river, and the last of the druids was carried from sight. The charred rush was still an instant longer, and then the magic was ended. Alanon, cries Bryn. Alone on the riverbank, she stared across the swiftless flowing waters and waited for the reply that would never come. Okay. Rennie, I'm going to throw it to you.
Yeah, so a couple things went through my head on this one. Firstly, I was really shocked because so Alanon fought off all these demons in the last book, and I'm like, so you can't fight one thing? I mean, what? What? You fought off all those thousands of demons. I mean, yeah, he didn't fight alone, but he did a lot of some good defensive and offensive maneuvers in the last book. So that was kind of gut wrenching, and I was really not happy about that. And then, like when Bryn kept saying, she was watching the whole thing in horror, right? Alanon told her several times, this wish song is very powerful. I expected her to sing and try to save him, and that didn't happen. And I was really not happy. I was like, sing, damn it. Sing, Bryn. Open your mouth and sing. What the hell? And just like, it didn't happen. And that was such a frustration for me because I felt like she could have saved him after everything he did for her. And, how protective he was of her, and how he even upgraded Roan's sword to help Roan protect her. And it was very, very tough to read that and not be upset. And I'm sure that whatever he did to her forehead kind of gave her, I'm thinking, a powerful upgrade to her wish song. I could be wrong. But still, it just feels a little bit hopeless now that he's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Jacob kind of asked, is she now a druid?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because, you need to study and,
Okay. Yeah, so it's more, okay.
But something did happen, though. And want a little spoiler?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not for this book.
Okay, well, if no one in the chat wants to hear the little spoiler, mute or something.
Basically, it enables a future Omsford to become a druid.
That makes sense, I guess.
Something was passed on.
I figured it was something, and they've already established that it is hereditary.
Yeah.
That something happens through that line. Yeah. Yeah, everything else said, it's like it couldn't fight the demon drink. No, the members of Alanon aren't the ones that are fighting the demon drink. They're fighting the codependency of the people who are fighting the demon drink. But I know what you mean. Alanon, I mean, poor Terry Brooks, little he knew. And as Jacob says, it happened as it was foretold. Yeah. No, I mean, it was great. I was feeling dead guilty because, all the mean things I said about him.
You're
No.
both guilty.
I stand by my reasoning of not completely trusting Al-Anon, but at the same time, I didn't think he was evil and I didn't want him to die.
Mm-hmm.
That just, yeah, not cool, Terry Brooks.
Yeah. But let me go back to what I mentioned at the beginning, which I couldn't earlier. I'm glad he's dead narratively, because the first few chapters of this book were really poisoned for me, because I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, how many times is Al-Anon going to show up and then say this and say, I can't told you? They're going to be mad. So this is going to break that pattern.
No, it won't.
Oh. Well, what, Al-Anon's going to come back from the dead and be a pain in the ass?
Yeah, like the wraith in the pond.
That's
No.
what I was thinking. He would be the new Bremen.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's true. But okay, well, fine.
But then he's going to be like Bremen, where he's like, not really talking real English and only one person can understand him, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh,
That's what I figured.
Well, there we go. All right. Well,
But there's a big twist coming up though that I think all of you are really gonna like.
all right. We'll see.
We'll find out actually next time we do a stream.
All right. All right. Well, moving on. After that was very well written, and that shows that he is a good writer, because if he can elicit emotion the way he did, it was very, very moving. Very, very moving. Even though I was annoyed by that character. So anyway, so after capturing, we go back to Jer for a little bit. The Melret Stithis marched him north through the wilderness of the Anar. Oh my gosh, how many times does poor Jer have to go on a death march? And there's like, I mean, this poor kid, I mean, he's having a real bad time of it. And going through where there's a whole bunch of Mordrays and gnomes and all sorts of bad people. And as he's being death marched, he just keeps seeing everybody, what Garrett Jack's being pulled down into the gray waters, Forker buried beneath the wall of stone rubble, Slanter running heedlessly down the underground corridors, never looking back. Even Bryn, Al-Anon, and Roan appeared at times, lost somewhere deep. Sometimes thoughts of the king of the Silver River would come to him, and he's thinking about the gifts of magic that the old man had given him, which he had hidden in his pocket and stuff, but is that going to even work? So finally the Melret goes, we go to the high bins, and he's like, the high bins? What are those? Mountains beneath the Ravensbourne, or below the Ravensbourne Elfling, says the other one. And stay for a time within those mountains, put you in gnome prisons at Dunfee Aran. So he's like, oh, great. So he's going to go on a death march, and he's going to be locked up in prison. Yeah, he's going to be locked up in pigeons. That's exactly what's going to happen. Prisons. and then we get a little bit of a background. Does the elfling truly not know? Does he not see? Ours was the gifted people. I'm not going to do his voice. Ours was the gifted peoples, lords over all the mountains. Give we up our homes, they say, but something was done to us. Our peoples fail, and at last we are now too few. So, I mean, I think they kind of did get screwed over, but still, you don't have to be a psycho about it. But what does all this have to do with me? He demands. Magic, said the Melret. Songs you must sing must be mine. You must have the magics, and you must give them to me. So he wants his magic so he can be able to get revenge and defeat, all the people that his people got screwed over by.
Yeah, and he seems to be able to extract magic, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
from Jer because he did something in the cell. Basically forced Jer to
use it.
reveal his magic more.
Mhm.
But the
Oh.
weird thing is, right? They don't these mole rats don't like the Mordraids, but instead of teaming up, they're gonna just like fight everybody for their magic and may the best men win, sort of thing. I mean, is that the smart way to fight? That irritated me. And then for him to just be like, okay, well, I'm going to lock you up until I can figure out how to steal your magic or work you like a puppet, so to speak, I believe is what he kind of inferred. And I was like, you suck. I don't like you.
Yeah.
So I'm really worried for Jared's sake, but I have the feeling that a certain little yellow guy might just save him, but I don't know.
Yay.
Also,
Mhm.
the prison is taking him to is very near where Jer needs to go.
Mm.
If you look at the
Yeah,
map.
Oh,
true.
I haven't looked at the map. I thought about looking at the map, but I didn't. Um, and one thing that Jared's also concerned about, he's like, well, he can't force me to sing, but, and then he remembered maybe even though the magic dust and the crystal are hidden from the Melkret, he can still sense it. And so he can get a hold of, not just by compelling him to use a wish song, but also to use that magic. Oh, hello, Copa. Copa Catania. In here to smash the like buttons and say yo in the chat. Oh, well, thank you. Much appreciated. What's going on here? Oh, Stieg is giving it to me again for how many times now?
Well, I'm being helpful.
Oh, I know you're being helpful. This time around, you haven't. I need to save it on my computer. That's part of the problem. I have it saved on my phone a million times. Stieg is being helpful. Thank you, Stieg. Let's see.
Oh, you can actually buy a full world map too now on Terry Brooks's website.
No, I'm sure. Okay, let's see if I can do this correctly. I'm going to be a good girl and keep my north and my south and my east and west. Okay, here's the Kapal. That's where, in the wedge. So that's where the big old battle thing happened. And here's Dune T Iran. So this is where the prison is. And
yeah, the Heavens Well, that's where Jer has to go. So it's not far away.
You are
and
correct.
If you look at Bryn and Roan, they were at the Charred Rush.
Yeah.
So they're getting closer as well.
Yeah. Let's see. There's the high bins. That's what they were talking about. Okay, where's the Charred Rush on here?
It's above Rooker Line. Just east of Storlock.
Okay, so Storlock was over. Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
There it is. So they're here. Here's Jer and Roan. Not Roan. Sorry, Bryn and Roan. Jer was at the high bins and being brought to the D10 Iran right here under here, and they all have to go there. We have a nice little triangle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to maybe draw on the map for next time.
The gray mark, that's where the Mord Greats come from.
Okay.
And the male Mord is where the book is.
Okay, right up here. And this was what the hissing people, the Melkrets, were forced to make, like when they were enslaved and stuff.
Yeah. And if you see the two areas between Charred Rush and the destination, you see the Grim Pond and the Heartstone. Both of them will be explored in the book. So, which is kind of cool, because otherwise you'd be wondering, what the hell is that place, right?
Yeah. All right around here. Yeah, I'm going to play around with that for next time. I'll try to remember to get that set up. Everyone's saying hello. Yay. Well, isn't it convenient that they're all going to end up in the same place? And of course, I think I did say hello to Mr. Brown, aka King Charles III, but that's okay. Well, actually, Mr. Brown Alliance. So, and people are sharing things out. Thank you very much. And if you haven't already liked, shared, or subscribed, especially, please go ahead and do so. I do appreciate it. Every subscription is important to me. Let me see. Do we have anything else? We do not. We just know that Din Fi Iran was a sprawling castle-like complex of walls, towers, watches, and battlements, which sounds like so much fun. I want to go play around in that. Prisons, Effling, Jer heard Melret whisper back, and they went deeper down into the prisons. So basically, it sucks to be Jer. And Melret goes, tells me what I must knows, or you will never leave this place. And all huddled alone, Jer listening to the sound of their footfalls had disappeared. And it's like he's hearing this little voice, this little devil on his shoulder going, you're gonna fail. Suddenly he decided to use the vision crystal. Softly he sang, and he was able to see Bryn's face before him, studying the flames of a campfire. Her lovely face was cupped in her hands. There were signs of strain and worry. Whatever had happened to her had obviously been unpleasant. And then the sister's face wavered and vanished, and he looks down in stunned silence because he couldn't see Al-Anon. Where, he wondered, was Al-Anon? He's dead, you dumbass. Leaves in the wind. The voice of the king of the Silver River whispered in his mind, she will be lost. Then he closed his eyes tightly about the vision crystal and stared sightlessly into the darkness. Dun, dun, dun. I'm not sure what to... Yeah.
Not much to say about that one. It's basically
Yeah.
the villain kidnaps one of the heroes, tells him his plan, and stuffs him in the jail cell.
Yeah. Here's
Yeah.
my evil plan. Yeah. I feel though for poor Jer. I mean, that little boy.
Yeah.
Like, well, you wanted an adventure, you little It's not all it's cracked up to be, is it?
He's a very sweet, innocent kid, you know, and just has the worst luck in the world, man. I feel so bad for him.
Yeah. Okay, I am keeping track of the time here. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and go, whoops, yeah, on to 27. So we're going to leave poor Jer worried, lost, and alone, knowing his sister is upset about something and no sign of Al-Anon. And then we go back to Bryn, where Bryn sees the lights and she's dragging along Rowan, who's delirious. Can't find where, lost, can't find. So he's delirious about his sword. And she ends up at a trading post. They're like, what happened to you, girl? And that's where you realize that Bryn is looking really effed up. and I guess... And they're like, it's a ghost, because I guess they just look terrible. And they look at Rowan and they're like, yeah, this little boy, Rowan,
he's poisoned.
Yeah, he's screwed. Yeah, and that he's not going to make it. And she lies and says, we fell off our horse, and they decide to give them a room in the stable and some medicine, but this is not a happy, cozy moment. It's really not cool. And she's having trouble accepting that Al-Anon is gone, that Rowan might die, and the Jakira's poison was infecting him. And what is it? She says even the sword of Leah was gone. Al-Anon was dead. The one real magic they had, all that was left was the wish song. Yet Al-Anon had said the wish song would not be enough. And then a bunch of pervs start coming in. And they're like, pretty girl, come on over here. Which, unfortunately is a reality of a woman alone or with her protector being too sick and dead, and she loses her crap. She uses the wish song to unleash a fury that whispered of death and mindless destruction. And they stagger back, eyes mild, whining in shock and disbelief, their hands covering their ears, madness rang in its call. And the five of them were smothered in the sound and ran away. At first, I thought she was going to like totally kill them, but I guess she put a
Well, they basically started bleeding from their eyes too.
Yeah, from
yeah.
their orifices. I remember that. I'm like, oh, that could get ugly if they don't get the hell out of there.
Okay. Yeah. So it wasn't just the whisper of death. Okay. Oh yeah, their eyes and mouths. Yeah. Okay. Like end of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And shrieks were shrieking, and her fury was so complete that reason could find no means to stem it. The animals were kicking and slamming wildly against their stalls, crying out their pain. And then finally they made it a way out, and oh gosh, every nose and hand and their fingers were knotted into claws, and they ran away. So they escaped. She didn't kill them, but damn. Yeah, and a look of horror was on the face of the trade dude who had let them in. She's like, "Oh shades," and she falls in stricken belief. Now, I think that she was terrified by the power that she was unleashing that she didn't realize. But these efforts had it coming. They were going to rape her.
Yeah, and they were going to rob them and possibly even kill Roan. I mean, she didn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, girl, if you don't do something,
Mm-hmm.
you better do something. And then finally she's saying, so it was just like, oh, it was very, very tense.
Yeah. And the real fear from the trademaster guy, but
Yeah, and she also uses the wish song to draw out the poison.
The poison.
from Rome.
The soul poison.
Yeah, and I thought it was a good contrast that we saw how she could use it to bring death, but she could also use it to bring life, because then she thinks maybe I could cure him with the song.
Well, that was what it said though: destroyer and savior.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Yeah. See, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
That's right.
Yeah. She bent near his ear and began to sing, probing for the hurt he felt. Holy crap! She will be the best doctor ever if she lives through this and can just sing to all the infections and stuff. And then finally she says, I have done it. I've used magic for good. Savior this time, not destroyer. Explicitly she says that, and she holds him close and falls asleep. And we all go, "Aw."
Still kind of ominous chapter though.
Hell yes.
Absolutely. Well, because, you're in a town you don't know, and you've got these strange men, like, what's a girl like you doing in this kind of town? It's like, oh, Lord, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
This might not end well, so definitely.
Oh, yeah, and the place was called Rooker Line.
Yeah.
It's on the map.
Okay, let me see here. I brought the way. And Rin, you did point out, it was in the chat, that strong women before strong women were, strong women.
Yeah, before it was cool to be a strong woman, she was just a strong female character. Go figure, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and Amberley and Eritrea as well.
Exactly.
Oh, here we are. Rooker Line's right here. So they went from the Charred Rush to Rooker Line. So they're getting closer to our friends.
Yeah.
Also points out why I think it's unrealistic when you do have women, the strong women, I'll say, this is one reason why it is unrealistic. Women would not except under very exceptional circumstances, they would not be around alone because they'd be great. It wasn't safe. Same thing with all these
Yeah.
pirate queen and pirate women or girl pirate things. It's like no, you would be passed around and then left for dead.
If
It
this had
wasn't.
been Disney Star Wars, Bren would have all of a sudden had epic fighting skills
Yeah,
right off the bat because the plot demanded it.
Yeah.
But Terry
exactly.
Brooks did not do that.
Yeah.
He had her
Um,
use a skill she's had since first page.
mhm. Jacob brings up a good point. She isn't doomed to bring destruction, though she can choose between destruction and healing. Yeah. Oh, I want to keep this on topic, but I just wanted to throw aside the comment about in A Song of Ice and Fire. That's why it was very realistic when George R. R. Martin had Arya. The first thing they did was they dressed her up like a boy.
Yeah, to
Because
avoid her getting raped.
yeah, because a
Yeah.
girl, yeah, it's just like
Yeah, and then
if
the
you
feminists go, "Oh, he's turning her into a feminist." No,
no,
he is not.
no, it was, and that was why women, if they ever were found in this situation, they would do their best to dress like boys because it was not safe. Let's see. Not saying I excuse it. I'm saying that's the way it was, and that's why women were to stay at home. you know, it, it it wasn't always because the men were like, "Oh, I'm afraid of a strong woman." All right. So I'm going to go on to the next chapter, 28. This is the last one. I think we're going to get it. We're going to get you in, Rennie. But
Woo!
yay, woohoo! So they stayed on for 2 days at the Ricker line. The fever was gone by morning, and the Highlander was resting. I love this. It says the trader was kind and a decent man, but now he was frightened of her and what she would do with him if he refused help. That's sometimes a good situation to be in. It's like, yes, fear me a little bit, please.
Give me everything I need.
Yeah. It's like, I want some chocolate, but we don't. Wait, never mind. Here's my chocolate.
Take mine, please. I insist.
Yeah. A new closeness developed between them, stronger and more certain in its purpose between the two. So they're in love. I really like this relationship, though, because it's very realistic. Uh, that friends, they were friends for how long? And then when they kind of got old enough to have hormones, they finally realized, hey, you're a chick, I'm a dude, and a natural attraction came. And often that's a very good foundation for a long lasting relationship and marriage. Because when people, it is true in my humble opinion, when people are friends first, because they got to know each other and enjoy each other. Um, so I just really like this idea of best friends becoming lovers, and then they're probably going to get married at the end, unless they kill them off, for which I will be mad. And she did not tell him, though, about the blood that Al-Anon had taken from her, and she didn't tell him of the uses to which she had put the Wishsong. So she didn't tell him, but both. She didn't tell him that she used it for near death and also to save, because she did not understand them, and the implications frightened her. And she said that Highlander was troubled enough as matters stood by the loss of the sword of Lee, and he could think of little else. Without it, she guessed, the Highlander did not believe he could survive what lay ahead. And not just that, probably in the back of his head, I'm supposed to be her protector, and I can't protect her anymore. Poor little boy. And
Oh,
then
she got him a bow though.
oh, well, yes, but that's not like the Sword of Lee, with all its
No,
magic. Yeah. Yeah. It
but it's still the weapon Menion used.
That's true. That's cool.
Yeah.
And Eleanor had warned her, or Alanon had warned her as they lay dying, the power of the wish song is like nothing I've ever seen. And she is still, she's just now completely frightened of it. She's, what she saw as a toy as a child, she now is, and then she's pondering also how the elfstone magic passing to the children and with the song and what the implications of all that will be. So they're doing a good job. Terry Brooks is, in my humble opinion, doing a good job of showing us that these rules of magic and the hereditary nature. Is it world building when you do that? When you keep things consistent like magic and how it works? So, but
Yeah,
whatever that's part of
yeah,
world building.
yeah. Basically, the most important thing you can do with a magic system is make it crystal clear what you cannot do with the magic.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure I had the correct term for that. Um, yeah, as Jacob Ironside says, take my shoes. They're good. I don't need them because and as it says as it says here next, she's like, well, we gotta leave. Thank you for your help. He's like, no need. I'll see to it you have some supplies and blah blah blah. And here's some water. Would you like an ash bow, one that could be used for hunting? Ash bow, got one right here, matter of fact, says the trader. Yeah, that's the bow he's referring. So he's like, here, take it and take these. No charge, of course. Here's a
Yeah.
quiver of arrows. I love
Please,
it.
please go on. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Yeah, no charge. Reminds me a little bit of in The Godfather when that one guy found out in Godfather 2, he didn't realize that Corleone had been like the new mob boss. It's like, who the hell do you think you are? Screw off. And then later he comes back, hey,
By
you
the
need
way,
anything?
yeah.
Anyone? Especially
Sorry.
yeah, my bad. You don't even have to charge anything. You know what? I'm gonna lower the ladies' rent, not raise it. They really
Yeah.
don't. Okay, and then Bryn picks up the bows and arrows. They really don't belong to me, especially not because of what happened. And the trader looks down and goes, don't belong to me either. You take them, girl. Oh, because the dudes left them behind. Yeah, the ones that she chased off. Yeah, that was also where they came from. They were dropped by those fellows. So she obviously feels shame about nearly annihilating them, even though they had it coming.
Yeah.
And then he points her to a friend. It's like, I've got a friend, you see, who can maybe tell you where you need to go, can help you. He's got a camp a few miles downriver. And she said, I am the same. Oh, she nods and then she turns to him and says, I am the same person I was when you helped me that first night. And the trader goes, doesn't seem that way to me. She said, you don't have to be afraid of me. You really don't. And he looks down at his boots. I'm not afraid. So, okay. Oh, and the dude's name is Jeff. There's a woodsman. His name is Jeff, and he's 90 years old. And that's who they're going to go see. So he gives them some supplies, and off they go. It's still hard for me to believe he's really gone, says Rowan. I sometimes think he really isn't gone at all. And then she goes, he's dead, Rowan. He goes, I know. And he goes, do you think that there was anything that could have been done to save him, Bryn? And she said, no. He knew that he was going to die.
Except she could have used the wish song and gotten the poison out of him.
Yeah,
That's
what?
what.
Oh, sorry.
That was my retort when I read that as well. I was like, no, you could have saved him. Don't lie. So mad at her.
Well, I can see why she maybe wouldn't have thought about that in the moment. Or maybe if she'd have said, I'm going to use the wish song, it should have been, I can save you. And he would have gone.
He was way more fucked up than Rowan was, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes, it's too late for me. And it's, yeah. And he maybe wouldn't have wanted her to because he felt like it was his destiny. As Snorta Poopa says, he's dead, Jen. Yeah. He's dead. And then they tell us, wait, am I in the right place?
Well, they basically head to Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they head off to Jeff. Okay. Feeling a bit better, are we? It says, thanks in part to you, I'm told. Oh, this is where they get their water and stuff. And he goes, I heard about what happened the other night. Word has a way of getting around a lot quicker than you'd think out here. And then she just goes, the stranger told us where to find you, etc. And then they're talking about the place they need to get to, away through the country that lies east of here. You mean Darkland Reach? That's dangerous country. No one goes up Darkland Reach if they can avoid it. How far do you plan to go? She says, all the way and then into Ravenshorn. He goes, you're mad as jays. You'll never come out alive. And then they're just quiet. It's like, I guess you got your own reasons. Oh, this is where the 80-year-old man, I was confused about who was who. This a woodsman who then says, there is someone else that can help you. His name is Cogline, 90 by now. He's an old man. I can give you directions, but the trails aren't much. He knows the country. He's an odd duck, old Cogline, but he might be more trouble than help to you. She's like, we'll be all right. So he gives them some water and supplies, and they got a horse, and he says they hitch up their provisions across their backs. Or rather, they don't have a horse. I'm sorry. I think I'm mistaken on that. Who cares if they've got a horse? And then walks away. And the woodsman dude is like shaking his head. He did not see them or expect to see them cross that way again. Dun, dun, dun. The end. That was not a filler chapter. That's the wrong word, but it was, I think, kind of giving us a transition into the next part.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw all of this to Rennie because I know that you do need to go in a few minutes. And so then if you need to, you can go ahead and duck out. So what do you think?
Yeah. I do feel like this last chapter was kind of like it did have a lot of fluff, but I think I would like to say it was to show us that the wish song is actually pretty powerful. You know, if she could take on like, you know, more than one person and not only defend but save someone, that's, you know, that's great. So, but I just wish they hadn't waited so long to use it because, like I said, I feel like she could have saved Al-Anon. But I do think this was just to kind of exhibit power, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Well, and since she's not maybe used to using the magic, it just didn't occur to her. It just wasn't in her bag of tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think next time we're doing through chapter 37.
Correct. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We decided that, didn't we? Yeah. We're gonna stop at, or we're gonna stop at 37, or no, we're gonna finish 37.
Yeah.
And stop
but
at 38.
We'll have 2 weeks because
Yeah.
we're taking a week off.
Yes. So we're gonna be reading that because I'm gonna literally be on a jet plane, so it's not conducive.
Yeah,
to
29
read.
through 37.
Through 37. So that's the homework. Yeah, thank you, Jacob.
And it's going to get more intense. I'll tell you that much.
I can only imagine. Yeah. Well, everything's changed, Rennie. That's just what struck me. With Al-Anon gone.
It's different.
Yeah. I so badly want to spoil something, but I'm not going to say it.
Oh. Don't you dare.
We're going to kill you.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to.
Well, I'll get sort of Poopus to swim over and take you out.
Yep.
Yeah. Al-Anon's gone. It's not going to be the same, but I almost feel for the better. I'm not sad he's gone. I really am not.
I am, just because it makes the other characters feel hopeless. So because of what it's going to do for them mentally, I do believe that the witch song is more powerful than we've seen. But because of like basically the morale, so to speak, that's what I'm not excited about. But I am curious to see what he's like as a shade. But I think it is going to be like Bremen where it's like, okay, only a certain person can communicate with him, et cetera, et cetera. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's just kind of a disappointing character transition for him. But at the same time, it can't always be, oh, Al-Anon's here, let's go on an adventure, or let's save the world.
Yeah, and he's like almost been killed several times in the books, right?
Yeah.
So eventually he is gonna grow.
Yeah, but I
But
think
he
that
went down like a boss, though.
Oh
he
yes.
he did, but I think they could have handled that differently, in my opinion. I think it would have been better to see, I don't know. It's, to me, it was really disappointing that, yes, I understand this creature like feeds off of pain as well, and you know, it helps to give him strength or stamina or whatnot. But like I said, in the last book, Al-Anon like fought off thousands of demons with the elves and all that,
Oh
and then
yeah,
this
yeah,
one thing takes him down.
yeah. But the demons aren't as powerful as that one, because this creature and the creatures like it was what created the demons. Because this is really old. This is as powerful as the elf stones.
Okay, well, that wasn't explained in my opinion properly, so that's why
No,
I'm like, what?
it was basically just he said it was incredibly powerful, and it was from uh, basically from the beginning of life itself, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
But it's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we won't see it again. Well, or maybe something like it, but no. Good stuff. Good stuff. Um, are you going to be on anything upcoming? Rennie?
Um, well, yeah, just depending on what's going on with The Godfather 2 at Brown Alliance. So I know that we were looking at potentially next Saturday or the following. So it's sounding like the 25th might be better for some involved. But we'll see. Brown's the one doing the slides, so we're kind of at his mercy. So I will follow up with him, and I will let you guys know once we have something cemented.
Okay. Thank you, Rennie. And stay
Yeah.
tuned to Brown Alliance for that. Jacob says, so back in 2 weeks. Oh, and he's going to miss Al-Anon. Okay. Well, you're. Narratively, I'm not going to miss him. That's where I am. Got slides to do 25th if you want. Oh, you
Okay.
summoned him. Okay.
All right. Well, that works out perfectly, honestly, Brown, because then that way, like Saturday, I've got like the whole day off of YouTube with this and that channel. So that works out perfectly for me. And I think that might actually work out better for Little Platoon, who talked about the 18th might be tough. So
Yeah,
we'll
I'll be
see.
flying,
And
so yeah.
on the 25th?
Not the 25th, the 20th.
Oh, the 18th.
Next week. Yeah, next week I'll be.
Okay,
flying.
so
Yeah.
see, that works out great for you too. Wink, wink.
Yay.
So
yeah, it works out for everyone. So back in 2 weeks, yes, because I will literally be on an airplane. It was the best flight I could get. Usually, I don't take that that weekend flight, but it was a significant amount in fare and I blame all those stupid spring break teenagers bringing up the prices so they can just screw off. But I digress. So that's why I am leaving on the time that I am. And hopefully the spring break kids will go away and quit using up the flights and making the flights go up.
that's right.
See you in the chat. Spy, see you in the chat. Thank you. And everyone, stay tuned. There's usually some nice fun movie talks. Take care, everyone. Thank you, Snortopoopus. And like I said, Rennie, if pop off if you need to. Steve,
Okay.
do you have anything you want? Oh, I'm sorry. I said pop off, and then I didn't let you pop off.
No, you're fine. Just wanted to say thank you guys. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And likewise with chat, don't rush off for me. And we'll chat soon. So
okay, great to see you. Have fun at the, what you're doing.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. Talk to you guys later.
All right. Bye. All
Right.
right, Steve, what you got going?
Nothing next week, I think. So yeah, I'll be having a week off.
Yay, everyone's taking a break. Well, that's good to know, I guess. So, but just stay tuned. You'll see us all around. I'm probably going to be doing some musings. I have, what was it? Oh, I have a serial killer thing I put together for some musings, as well as what is it? The Teresa Travels in Chester, England, ready to go. So my Wednesday video will likely once again be a Tolkien one. I have 2 of those ready. I am working on the Close Encounters, but it's taking a while because some of it's technical that I need to transfer onto my presentations. Popov, I'm not entirely sure what that means, but that's okay. Have fun storming the castle. I'll try storming the castle. Yeah. No castles today. It's been a while since I've been around one. And where else am I going to be? I might be on Nina's tomorrow night. It depends if I get watched or whatever. Stay tuned. Might be there. And other than that, have a great day. Have a great day, and be certain to use the wish song if you can use it instead of crying when you see somebody dying.
Yeah, and don't come in a silver river.